Alright guys, welcome back to the show, and we're going to go ahead and do the thing. What is the thing? Transforming this figure is the thing, but before we do the thing, let's go ahead, get a couple of things out of the way. Normally I start in alt mode, but this guy, getting him into his alternate mode is going to be the trickier thing, so I figured I'd show it off first, and I filmed the robot half of the review first, then I'm going to transform him, pause filming this halfway through, film the planet half, then resume this video and transform him back. So everything's being shot in a random order, and I don't know if I'm going to do it going forward or not. Thing of note too, I have to stand while doing this because of how big he is. It's going to be really hard to do this sitting, so bear with me as I try and keep him in frame. Thank you very much, and without further ado, let's go ahead and do the thing. Now, you can keep these rings on to transform him, but I can tell you right now, it is just going to get in your way. So we'll go ahead and take them off. And what we want to do is on one side of the rings, you're going to have a post that corresponds with a port. Those need to come together. And then you need to take the other side and you need to fold it out, like so. And we'll go ahead and set that off to the side. This side specifically. Go ahead and take its other ring off. And do the same thing where we plug it in and stretch it out. Just did that real quick off screen. And for some of this I'm going to be cutting things out. I'll do one half and then I'll pause recording and blah blah blah. So here we go. First of all, I'm going to get him kind of straightened out because I've got some of his joints active. And I like to get them nice and straightened out first, so that way I don't end up rotating things past where they're going. Listen to those loud snaps. The snaps of a tyrant, the snaps of a chaos bronger, Unicron, the chaos bronger himself. Alright, so to begin, let's go ahead and raise the camera up while we shakily raise it. And we'll go ahead and get his chest started. So we're going to pull these panels off his chest and apart. And what's happening here is you have a tab here and a tab here. And you've got a slot here and a slot here. So go ahead and do that on both sides. Just pull them out of the way. We'll go ahead and grab this section out of the chest. And it is on a little orange armature here. Let's see if we can rotate this up enough. Can you guys see this under here? And it just collapses in, and this little tip of the horn goes into this gap here. But we'll see that when we go back. For now, we'll go ahead and fold the horn around, and it will clip into place. Go ahead and straighten that out, and then we're going to rotate it up because it's going to face these two tabs here on the bottom. And then we can angle that up like so. And we'll go ahead and do it on the back real quick. Alrighty, I started doing it on the back and I realized that one thing to note is that this gets in the way of the orange panel that's going to fold up. It's right here. And so if you just angle that out, then you can fold this out and get it all set up and then fold it back down on the back, because then we'll be able to get this stuff pulled up and it won't be in the way anymore. So you can do that. You can pull the chest up and then do this, or you can let it hang down, your preference. But anyway, we'll go ahead and get him spun around real quick so we can pull his chest up. And the best way to do that is going to be to fold one of his horns forward, one of his horns back, angle them in on his head. And then I got this tip from watching Jobby's review, so go ahead and check that out if you have not seen it. But we're going to go ahead and put our thumbs on the side of his head, and we're going to get under here with our finger like this. Hook your finger underneath, push your thumbs on his head, and click that up. There you go. Now his face is partially sunken in, and voila. So now we can go ahead and focus on his little crown bits here. And we'll go ahead and we'll bring these out to the side a little bit. You know what? Real quick to help us out, let's bring his arms down. because they are getting in my way. Just bring them down on their joints so they're off to the side and they look hilarious. So here we go, top of his head. We're going to rotate these out to the side, flip the teeth up that are in them, and then rotate them 180 degrees on this hinge. And we can rotate this back, make sure that it clears the head horn. And now that it's rotated back, I want to show you guys that little gray hinge. I mentioned it in the robot portion of the review. It plugs in via this little port right here. I glued mine in, it kept falling out. But we're going to take his crown, necklace, shoulder thing, pull out the remaining spikes, and there are 4. Okay. Then we can fold that around his face and rotate these in, and you've got little teeth over here and little slots over here, and you're just gonna intersect them together like so. Oh, I turned on his head. That's probably gonna happen a couple of times. And there, we've got his little neck frill around his face without taking his head off. Now you can rotate this part up, and what we're gonna do is you've got the 2 tabs that we face the horn towards, and they're going to go into a slot here, an identical slot here. So go ahead, rotate those up and locate them, seat them. You can do that on both sides. And now that that's out of the way, this joint is clear to rotate up. So yeah, you can leave these in until you've done the neck frill. You can put all those teeth down too if you want. Make that look nice. And there's his head transformed. We've got his chest flailed out. And from here, what I like to do is start on the legs. So what I'm going to do is actually go way down, since this guy's heavy, way down. And then I might sit down for a minute. Oof. Because with the legs I can sit like normal. And hopefully it'll look a little bit better. So I'm going to angle his arms away from his legs for a minute, and we're gonna do, should we do that first? Yeah, we're gonna rotate his chest first actually. So let me bring this back up. So you've got 2 joints in the chest, which I went over in the review, the upper joint and the lower joint. So, anyway, we've got 2 joints here. So we're going to rotate the upper one, and it goes all the way a 90-degree turn, because these tabs on the chest are no longer in the way. So you've got that going on. And then we're going to fold up these hip skirts. Let's go down a little bit. Fold up the hip skirts, and then this whole crotch and butt plate assembly pulls away. You have a post here and a port here. So it'll pull away on both sides, and there's the port. We'll use that later. And what's going to happen is, now that these hip things are up, we'll go ahead and rotate it at the waist 90 degrees, and we'll take these hip panels and we'll fold this part in and then tuck the rest down after it, so that way it's sitting down in there. And we're going to go ahead and do that on both sides. So you want to tuck it up at this joint first, and then maneuver it down in so that it's nice and flat. And what you're going to want is, you're going to want this red panel facing the hip. So that's the only turns that we have to make right now. I'm straightening his feet if you're wondering what that noise is, because these are going to come apart and these panels are going to peg into the legs. So that's the only other rotation we need to make right there, right now. And then, you know what? I don't think I needed to rotate this chest. I could be wrong. Okay, no, I was not wrong. I was wrong about these panels. These panels are going to come to the side, but the leg's going to come up between them. So now we need to rotate this waist panel. See how they're on two different things? These need to stay where they were. And then we have to rotate above that panel to get this seam lined up with this seam, because that's where we want it. There we go. There's so much rotating around here. Sometimes I get lost with what needs to rotate to where. And then what we're gonna do, I wanna rotate that around. For my own personal preference, if you look here, this is the completed side. This side is the one that splits in half. That means his face is coming out this way. I like to put his left leg in that side so I know which way his face is. So I'm gonna rotate his chest around real quick. This is not something you have to do. Don't mind my OCD. All right, there. Now that that is rotated, what we're gonna do is we're going to take the hip and we're gonna rotate it so that this hinge is facing out. So what we'll do on the other leg, I do the right leg first, his right, our left, because it's easier to plug, undo the foot if you do the left leg first coming from planet mode. So we'll rotate this out. No, we'll rotate that in so his knee is facing out, and then we're not all the way down. Don't fall over. Stay. I forgot to go back down. Then what we're gonna do with these panels is we'll untab them from the side like they want to do. It's just this big old tab goes into a big old slot. Just rotate these around to the back for now and leave them there to get them out of the way. And then we're gonna rotate his entire leg around. So what you're gonna wanna do, if you can see around the hip skirts, is just click it out a couple of times and then rotate at the hip, the actual hip here. So that way his leg goes up a full 180. Let me rotate that off camera because it's going to be easier to do off camera. Come on. Very sturdy, very stiff joints. There we go. And you just have to grab them at the right spot for leverage, which is unfortunately not easy to do on camera. And then now I gotta balance him while I talk. You've got this little thing under here, this little gray piece, and you're just gonna get under there. I just take both fingers, get a nail under there on each side, and just pull it out until it's out all the way. It looks like some silicone grease is in there. They must have applied that themselves. But I'm gonna go ahead and rotate his other leg around real quick, so that way I don't have to balance him like this. Alrighty, so I got both his legs rotated, and then I went ahead and rotated this leg to the final resting place. So this is what it's going to look like, and we're going to turn this side into it. So what we're going to do is we're going to take his knee, real quick. I had forgotten to rotate the little panel out on the bottom, so now they're both out. So what we're going to do over here is we're going to take his leg, I'm going to collapse the foot. Just pushed it down. I can't get it down low enough. But we're going to rotate his knee 180 degrees so it's facing the back, like so. And then what we can do is come over here and angle down, because he likes to go low, high, low, high, low, high, low, high. I really wish I had a fan right now. It's getting warm in here. I got sweat everywhere. We're going to disengage these. Now these peg together, you've got a tab and a slot on each side. So on this side you've got the tab here and the slot here, and then you've got these two big tabs that go into this slot here to help hold the leg assembly in place. And when you're maneuvering those in, we'll go over it in planet mode. There's a specific way to do it, but when you're pulling them out, just make sure you're not a barbarian and you don't rip those tabs off. And then we can angle the leg back up, because I angled it down to mess with the knees. And what we're gonna do here is we're gonna unclip the back of the calf. And what it is you've got 2 posts and 2 ports on this, and you've got all of this stuff that goes into here to help hold that leg in place. And now that that's not locked in, the leg is sliding up and down. And the people having the issues they're having is that they are having trouble figuring out which order to do this all in. So with these side panels, what you want to do is rotate this, so that way this tab, this foot's in the way, this tab can now go into this slot. So we're going to rotate that down and get that seated on both sides. I really should have done this before I collapsed the leg, but I'm very warm and very tired, so I'm not doing this the best way possible, but we'll get it all done. Alright, so you want those seated that way. You want to take his feet, fold the toes in on the front. Yes, leg collapse, thanks. Now people can see. Good job, you did it by yourself. Fold the toes in, and then go ahead and fold this in the back one out. I'll give you the space you need to rotate them. So that way they're facing this general direction. I like to have them bent, I want to say this way, because they're going to line up with this panel. Speaking of that panel, we can go ahead, and it's the same on both legs. You're going to pop up the left side, all of this, and flex this out to the side on that hinge. Then this tab here is just resting in there, and the same was going on for this tab. You're going to pull this out, and it's going to rotate on this hinge, and then it's going to rotate back in so that this slot here goes around this tab. And it can be a little flexy, a little tricky, but it's not too hard, and there you go. And then this slot here goes around the other tab, and there you have essentially doubled that space in size. And then it's going to slot this way, so what we can do now is fold it forward to get those at the right angle, and then fold it back out for now. As far as this stuff goes in here, you're going to want these chest panels out of the way, and out to the side. You can rotate them down if you want to, so that way we can see what we're doing, but you don't have to. These 2 panels are going to split and fold out to the side, and you're going to want them angled out for now, because there is these posts here, right here. One of these posts around the screw, or this one, I'm not 100% sure which, but I'm thinking it's this one, is going to go around this peg on the leg, one on each side. So now that we've got that done, we can rotate at his hip, angle that up, and then you've got, get in there, camera, get in there. There's a clip, and on the underside of the leg, we'll show you on this one, there's the adjoining clip, and there's one on both sides. Same difference on this leg, and so we'll clip it in. Clip it in, he says. One moment. Gotta make sure I don't have anything out of alignment. Alrighty, so I did manage to get them clipped in. Nothing was unaligned. It's just very hard to do it on camera because you've got to look in there and line them up and make sure they're where they need to be before you push them in for the final snap. So everything was lined up. Now we can take these panels here. Let's rotate this back up out of the way. We can take these panels here on the sides, and you've got the post in the port. Snap that in on both sides, like so. And then we can take this panel here, and there is another panel underneath. Just dislodge that. You've got two tabs that go into two slots up in there. Fold it out, rotate it 180 degrees, and this is going to clip back in. There are two posts, two ports. Clip that back in, but while you're clipping it in, make sure that this goes under that gray tab. Get that clipped in. Make sure the ports that were down here get clipped in, and then go ahead and tab this in, which again, like everything, is a lot less tricky when you're not behind the camera. There, tabbed right in. It's just being in front of the camera. And if I wasn't so ugly, I might film in front of it. Alright, so we're going to finish this up, and then we can do the other leg and move on with our lives. Isn't that exciting? Alright, sorry about that. So to finish this up, this dovetail is going to go into this. Stop focusing on the dovetail. This slot right here. And it's a lot trickier to do. Oop. On the side, at least it's trickier to get undone on this side. So we've got to get it inside all the panels and snap it into place. The feet don't want to cooperate at all with me this time for some reason. And then we're going to take this panel, pop it out. There is a little slot. Ooh, that's the first time I've had that happen. And rotate it around. There's your little tab, and it's going to relocate itself right there. Make sure that all the panels go around each other appropriately, because this one will try and go down underneath that tab there. And then we can finally get to the beside the knee panels. I'm going to rotate it out on the side and kind of start spinning it back under, so that way we can rotate this gray panel up, because we're going to want it to rotate 90 degrees. These two fin pieces are on the same piece, so we can rotate those around. And then there's a tab here that's going to locate it into this slot, and it's got like a hook on it. So we'll go ahead, and it's just a matter of wiggling all of the different armatures until it sits where it's supposed to sit. And then you've got this chest piece. You've got a tab here that goes into a slot right here, and then you've got little tabs on the inside of the orange chest piece that go into slots here and here. So just line it up, pop it in, there you go. Same thing on this side, just flip those around, get everything lined up, snapped in, and snapped in, oop, snapped in, and snapped in. And that is one leg turned into part of a sphere. So if you want to see the difference here, that is the difference. That's what we're going to. This is what we came from. So we'll go ahead and get this side looking like this side. Alrighty, and here we are back from the void with both of these in place. And it actually didn't take too much time. So now we're going to work on his arms, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to transform one so you can see the before and after picture, which is how I might start doing this from now on. So that way I only have to have one thing in my way when I'm on camera and not when I'm off. Alright, so now we have most of a sphere going on, and we just have to get this arm done. So what you want to do for this transformation is you want to have the elbow joint out so that when it clicks in. You want to have the wrist rotated so that the back of the hand is in a line with this, and we can get started. These blue panels that might be orange on yours are going to pop, unplug. They are very, very secure. Unplug them. There we go. Yeah, they've got two. Oh, let's move the ball over. They have two posts that go into two ports on the back of that panel, and they are very secure. And then we'll realign our arm, rotate, pull. There's this gray piece is actually pinned to a little slider under here, so we're going to pull that out, rotate these blue panels around. Oof. It's a ball. It's going to roll. Then rotate this whole assembly around. Actually, you know what? Let's just rotate the panels halfway, rotate the assembly around, and then line them all back up on this side. Then we can just kind of let it hang down, maybe even make things a little easier and have those rotated out. We'll see. There's a little flap here behind the hand that's going to fold in. That just fills in that in robot mode. Then rotate the hand in with the fingers out and the thumb tucked under. And then this tab is going to go into this slot right here. And this port, or this post, is going to go into the port on the back of the waist panel where it was originally plugged in robot mode. That's going to come a little bit later. But for now, that's going to loosely hang because I don't plug it in until the end. Then we're going to come up here to the shoulder. We're going to rotate. Let's get this out a little bit so that way we can see. We're going to rotate. There's two posts back here, and we've got to get this up around them. And it fights me a little bit, so what I'll do is I'll pop these gray panels out to the side first and make sure these are like I said, don't fold those all the way in if you intend to use them, and I do. So just fold them in part way. But once you get those out of the way, you can get back on the side and help wriggle the corners over these two posts. So that way it's back like that. This is going to fold. You have two tabs here that go into two slots here, and then you've got this double joint. You want that kind of straight out to give you the clearance to rotate this part around, and then you want to fold it down on the double joint pretty much all the way, and we can get it down farther in a second. Unfold these panels to the sides, and then this gray double joint you're going to fold down, and it's going to rest inside this cavity. And we'll go ahead and rotate. Oh, turn his head back on. Rotate his arm up a little bit because we're going to bend the elbow out of our way, so that way we can seat that down and seat this down all the way. So now that's seated. Those line up really well. Go ahead and plug in these like so, and then we have to maneuver the shoulder hinge up so that it's seated inside this cavity here. And while we're doing that, we have to get these posts that were in our way into these ports here, and then these dovetail grooves have to go under these. So it's a very weird, awkward motion, but the best way to do it is to angle up and then push down and in. So we're like clicking it like a ratchet. And then it might take some flexing, but you start getting that shape together. And then as we're doing it, these tabs here are going to go into the other side of the chest on both sides as we're pushing her home. I pop this one out, but that's okay. This can all come back together nice and neat. So we'll get that all back together nice and neat. And then once we've got this in place, we're gonna see about lining all of this up. So we'll get under here, and we know that this is in the right spot if we can plug it in. If we can't plug this in without flexing the fist out, then it's not positioned right. So we need to unplug it, and we need to fold our fist back in all the way, and we need to re-angle this. So pull it out by pulling on this, and then get it angled in there, so that way we can snap this in without dislocating the fist. And it's going to look about like this or so, and you'll know that you've got it in the right spot when you go to plug these in. They're going to plug in, there's a tab on the sides for these, and then you can clip this into place into its spot, and then this is going to untab like it wanted to the whole review. And this process, there's a slot here, tab here, it's going to rotate, and then this little spike is going to go into this little slot here. And as long as that seats in and stays and everything is together, we've pretty much got her all together. Then for these waist pieces, we'll go ahead and fold this out. Then you've got two panels to fold out behind it, and then you've got a clip here, and you've got a tab under here that's going to go up in that clip, and that's the only connection there, and it usually stays in place pretty good. You can flex it out by pushing on this panel, but it's gonna, most of the time it's gonna stay in place. And if something's not staying in place, it's that elbow joint. You just got to realign it. And there, we've got the bulk of the robot together into a sphere that is a planet. So what we're going to do here now is I'm going to wipe my eye, so there's something in it, and we'll go ahead and attach the rings, which is also notoriously annoying. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to figure out which side I want the top to be, and I usually have the split in the bottom of it. So this is going to be my bottom port here, and that's where I'm going to start. I'm going to start tabbing the rings in from the top actually, and what I'm going to do here, those are a little loose, so the teeth are a little loose on mine, but if you put the faceplate on, it's not going to matter. And I might tighten them up someday. So what we're going to do here is go ahead and take your wings, and a lot of people, what they do is they mix match their wings, so that way you've got all this junk on one half and then it's cleaner on the other, and they have a clean side hooked up with a side with junk. I don't do that. I have both of the sides with the extra wing for robot mode. I take both of those sides and I hook them together, and that's the top of the planet, because if you have it in the provided stand, having the clean wings on the bottom helps it sit better, and it helps you differentiate the top if you want, and it helps you hook them together in the end, which is why I'm starting with the top. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to hook these together now and get these hooked in, and then hook them into the port. And then we're going to go ahead and catch him before he rolls off the table, straighten these out, which I did not do, and hook them into the side ports, both sides. And that is the easy part. And one of these side things came undone. One moment. You stay. You stay in your home, because it's normal, as MGO would say. And we like normal here. Okay. And that's perfect anyway, because now I can just bring him back in with the bottom forward. And we've got these two left. And the reason I do the bottom second is because without all the extra crap on here, we have a little bit of extra room to flex. So we can go ahead and push those together, get everything tabbed down below, and then slide it into the port without having to flex anything past anything else, for the most part up here where it's weak. We just kind of flex this around, which is more sturdy because it's just solid pieces. There's nothing pulling or pushing down here except when they come together, and then you fit it into the hole and you have a sphere. I'm going to go ahead and straighten his head out on the inside because it got moved during the transformation. And there we have a little unisphere, a unicorn sphere. And we'll go ahead and put it on one of its pedestals so we can see it in all of its glory. So we have it pedestal, and we just take it and put it down inside, and then we can angle up, and we can push it back. We can raise up a little bit. That was a journey. And I have not flexed the spikes out on him. I do have them put on. I haven't flexed them out yet. When I go, I'm going to flex them out before I film the planet mode part, and then I'll go ahead and show how I flex them in and out when I go back into robot mode. But man, there he is as a planet, and I might not film that stuff till tomorrow because I am pooped. This guy is not hard to transform, mind you, off camera, but on camera it's a bit of a chore, and it's got me rethinking the way I'm going to be doing these transformation videos. It's a learning process. But so we'll be back possibly at a different angle, looking slightly different for the transformation back into robot. Yay! Alrighty, and I just returned from filming the first half of the quick review, so he does look slightly different than we left off. I want to say I didn't have the faceplate on, I didn't have the spikes out. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the faceplate off for starters. Doing this one-handed is a little awkward. Apologies. But what this is you've got 4 pegs, 2 on this side, 2 on this side, and they go into these 4 little holes. Let's pull you forward, Unicron, and you're a little crooked guy. There you go. There are 4 little holes. 1, 2, 3, 4, and you just push it into those to get it on there. That's for the spikes. With these ones, you just fold them down. With these ones, I fold them towards the middle stripe because that means in robot mode they'll end up facing the back of the arm, so this blue section in front is clear. And then with these, I'll fold this one in first, and the reason I do that is because if I zoom in here and angle down, ooh, slap the camera, gotta get one of those in. This is the sprue where I had to cut it off. And if you put this one in first and this one over it, you can take your fingertip and get at the, I got a cut. You can get your fingertip on the tip of this one, so that way you can maneuver this one back out, as I can't do it. Switching hands here. There we go. Maneuver this one back out, and then to get that one out, because it's deeper, you just get a fingernail or something on that nub and pop it out. There. So fold this one in first, and when you're installing this spike, make sure you've got the sprue nub there and that you left enough of a bump that it helps you get that out. Now, there are 4 spikes that go here, but they were constantly popping off, and so I have not yet made the decision of whether I'm going to leave them off permanently or if I'm going to glue them in place so they don't fall off. I don't know what I'm going to do there yet, so that's why they're not here. But that's that. So we'll go ahead and do the spikes on this side since they're quick and they're easy. Let's go ahead and zoom back out first of all. And so we're going to go with the one next to the ring first. Got my nubbin so I can pull it back out, this one, and then put these towards the orange stripe in the middle. If your panels are not blue, then it'll just be towards the orange and away from the blue. That's on you if you didn't change those. And then we'll go ahead and get started. Now, when I filmed the first half of this, I noticed it was a lot easier to transform a part and then show you how to transform it while the other thing was done. So that's what I'm going to do here. So we're actually going to pause, or cut, whatever you want to call it. And then when I come back, well, actually I got to get his rings off first. But after I get his rings off, we'll pause and come back, and I'll have one arm done, and then we'll show you how to do the other one. Now, I did show how to do this, and we're going to want to flip him over. And I'm going to get his stand out of the way at this point. We're going to want to flip him over and start from this side, and we're just going to pull these out, because after we pull these out, let me go ahead and fold his teeth up so I can rest the surface of the planet on my table. And then I can angle down so I can see what I'm doing. But once we have this pulled out, we'll be able to separate these and separate the whole thing without breaking it, because we can get the bottom together, or we can get the top together and then get the bottom together, and then we can get the top apart without worrying about this being trapped in the hole, so they can just separate as soon as they're ready. And then we'll go ahead and just pop them out of these side things. They're going to come out of place, but that's okay because we're going to want them to. Then we can just pull them off the bottom together. And we've got a ball and his rings. Ooh, ow, ow. Stay. Stay, boy. Stay. And so now, with the top set of rings, we can just pull those apart. And voila, his rings are apart. And we will turn them into wings at robot mode. And like I said, you can do this transformation with the wings intact, but it is fiddly. They get in the way, and when you're doing this on camera, that's the last thing you need, is fiddly and get in the way. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna have them like this, and then we're gonna come back and we'll have an arm transformed. Hooray! And as promised, here we have an arm all done. So we'll go ahead and get started on the other arm. What we're gonna do here is we're gonna get this. Oh, I'm not even in frame. I tried to hold both hands on the same side of the camera, and that did not work. So what I'm gonna do, so I'm gonna angle up, and I'm going to bring us down for now. All right, starting again, we're gonna untab this. This little hole was around this little spike. We're going to rotate it up on its double hinge, and this tab is going to locate itself into, oh, it's hard to see, this slot. All the orange coming together, it's hard to see the details. And then, let's see, you stay. Then what we're going to do is go ahead and free up these panels here. And I can't, we'll go ahead and pull the legs out. So if you push on this a little bit, it helps get this out, and then you can just pop it out of place and pop it forward. Same thing on the other side. Just give it a nudge, get under there, pop it out of the tab. You've got a tab with a slot, rotate that forward, and then what we'll do is we'll fold this and this and this, and again on this side you've got this and this and this. There we go. Now that those are in, we can pop these out. There is a tab on this panel that goes into a slot on the side of this panel. There's your slot right there. There's your tab right there. Same thing on this side. Free that up. And then this can fold up and it'll pull out a little bit. We'll start rotating these panels and then just lean that down for now, because we're going to undo this stuff up here. And in order to do that, we've got to unpop this. There is a post that goes into a port here, and we've got to pull his arm out, and we're going to pull out and down in a couple of different ratchets. So you've got it looking like that. And then we're going to put our thumb here and our fingers on the underside of this and push to get this clip undone if you want to use the clip. If not, fold it all the way in. If you do plan on using it, make sure you don't fold it all the way in unless you're sure you can get it back out or you've got a tool handy. I like to avoid using tools if I can, so I just fold it in about that much. And then what we can do is aim down with the camera. Ooh, he's wobbling. This panel is going to come up. It is on a double hinge system in here, so you want to hinge that up so it's far enough back that you can fold the panels in. I don't think it matters which way, but I do always fold the left one in because I am left-handed, so I generally do things left-sided. With this, you've got this armature here, and you're going to fold it out so that way it is pretty much straight. You have the clearance to rotate it around, and then you're going to fold it back down. There is 2 slots on this section that are going to go into these 2 here. Line those up, and then you've got a post that goes into a port on both sides, so you will plug those in, and then this is going to fold down, and the edge of this is going to sit right in front of the ports that were up in these holes here. And there's the shoulder. Finishing up the lower arm, let's lay you on your side so we can do this. We'll rotate this up out of the way. We're going to fold the fist out. Then there's a hinge here, so you're going to fold this little part out, which fills out behind the hand there. This is going to rotate around. These are going to finish rotating, so the spikes are facing the same way as the portion we want out. And then we're going to fold it down, and you are going to have posts and ports on both sides. And we'll just squeeze the arm, get it all squeezed together. And then what you're going to do is you're going to look at your thumb and figure out which way your thumb is, because the way your thumb is the way the arm is. So this is his left or his right arm, it's on our left, so we want to rotate the elbow so that way it's going to come forward, and then rotate the fist so it's facing forward. And there you have a cell with 2 arms done. And I'm going to do the same thing we did before, so we'll go ahead and cut to when he has a leg and show you how to do the other leg. Alright, now we have one leg done. Yes, he is balancing on one leg, because you can get him to do that. So we'll go ahead and get the other leg transformed. Let's go ahead and angle up real quick. And the first thing we're going to do is just start getting some stuff loose. So we're going to pop this out. And like I did going forward, I just used a couple of fingernails and put some downward pressure on there. And we'll pop that out. And we'll go ahead and let's make this leg come out so that way we can lower them down. So what we're going to do is pop these panels off. You have a tab going into a slot, and then you have a slot on top and a tab on the bottom, and then some tabs and some slots here. So I'm going to undo all of that, get these out to the side, and then what we can do with these is go ahead and spin these around, and these struts have grooves in here that they will locate in, so just go ahead and fold them into their grooves and have them sitting something like that for now, just to get them out of the way. If they cooperate. There we go. There we go. Alright, now that we've done that, we can go ahead and pop this bottom panel out of here. So we're going to rotate it out, and there are, ooh, he's heavy. Oh, hold on a second, guys. Alright, there are 2 ports and 2 posts. You've got the 2 posts. They go into 2 ports in here. So we're going to pull this away. We'll go ahead and rotate this around, and it's going to tuck up underneath here. And what's going to happen here is you've got a tab on each side. It won't focus in there. Get out of the way, chest piece. Get out of the way. Tab on each side. And you've got a slot up in here that that's going to sit in. Squeeze that. This came undone for us, but what we can do is this will come undone. We'll rotate it on the ball hinge. This tab was plugged into this slot, and we'll rotate it around, and now this tab is going to plug into this slot. So we'll seat it, make sure it's sitting. It is not. This ball joint is on one of them dumbbells, so it's a ball joint and a strut and a ball joint. So you're going to want to make sure you bring it down and tab it in that way so it's seated properly. And then the fun part for me is always getting this, I activated the head, is getting this away from the chest piece. And I don't know that rotating these feet help, but I can, there we go. Now that we've gotten this dovetail out of its groove, we can pull this away, and that gives us access to unplugging the foot. And the best way I've found to unplug the foot area from the chest, the torso, is to have these rotated down and put your thumb right on the back side of this corner and grab his leg and pull. And then we'll do it on the other side as we bump the camera all over the place. Get your thumb under there and pull. There, now that's freed up both of those clips. And what we're going to do is unclip these orange parts. There is a post that goes into a port on the back side of this. Unclip it from both sides, and then we can pull the leg away. And what we're doing to pull the leg away is we're rotating at the hip joint down in here. And then we can slide it up. If we have this stuff all out of the way, we can slide it up and then maneuver that hip joint at the same time. Here, let me get the chest up. But if you have everything out of the way and you slide up and maneuver it around, you can get that out of there without bumping these into stuff. Alternatively, if you don't want to do that, before you start sliding up, you can close these sections in to their robot resting place. Squeeze those together and it just slides right past it. Then we can go ahead and take those posts and ports that we undid and put those back in place to help solidify that. And we're going to straighten out this joint in his thigh. And now he's doing a super split. So what we're going to do here is, let's see, what I'm going to do is rotate. Oh, you know what? No, we'll leave him like this. We'll just angle down a little bit so that way we can see. Now with this, we're going to unplug these. You've got this big transparent on this version tab here, and it will have come unplugged from this slot here in the side. You're going to rotate them so that they're facing forward, and the best way to do this is to get one seated. This is going to go down in this groove here and get it pushed in all the way on that double hinge that it's sitting on. Then angle it back out a little bit and rotate this one in next to it. And you've got a tab and you've got a slot. So those are going to line up, and then you can push this side in all the way. Make sure everything's squozen together, and then you don't break anything. And then this piece here, stay upright. This piece here rotates up. Big old tab, big old slot. Secure that into place. Rotate these however you want. I usually just push them right up against the front of the knee there. Same thing on this side. Secure that into place. You've got the knee done. Now for the foot, if you don't want to pop the ankle out, you can still rotate everything around by pushing these up, giving them a spin, rotating it into place. Do it on both sides. Up, give it a spin, rotate it into place. Then we're going to rotate his front toe up. It does bend up for articulation, so you just kind of want to have it at a natural stopping point. And then for the heel, we're going to take this tab and slot connection and push this down somewhere along the rotation that it's on, so it's out of the way. We'll go ahead and move it over for now. Then we're going to undo this one, and you've got a ball joint and hinge system in here. So you're going to flip it using that ball joint and hinge system. You're going to flip it over, and then this tab is going to seat itself into oh, I have it rotated the wrong way. There we go. There is a groove here that's going to sit around this tab and this tab. So we'll go ahead and groove it over the foot, the section it's attached to, so that way we can get it all lined up into position. Then we can bring this one back in and rotate it into place, making the heel wonderful. That didn't go wrong at all. And now that we've done that, we can go ahead and straighten his hip back out because it bent for me to get the angle. We're going to rotate at the knee. Big old solid ratchet, and you know you've got it all the way around when the seam lines from the orange joint and the blue panel line up, and then we've got to rotate it at the hip. And to do that, the way I did it earlier when I was doing the other side, let me go ahead and raise the camera so I can get my arm under it better. Even though this is going to mean lifting him up higher. Angle it up a few clicks, and then grab here and twist. Then we'll go ahead and put his legs down towards each other and spin him to the front. I know this is the front because I put the legs in a certain spot, but if you are not sure what the front is, come down here to his feet and pop the ankle down a click or two, and it'll be offset towards the side that's the middle. So if this orange thing is angling this way, that's the outside, so you want it to be on the outside. If you don't have it angling that way, you've got to rotate your thigh around. Collapse his foot for now, and then that is the legs. So I'm going to go ahead and get his ankles positioned in a way that he'll stand pretty sturdy, and we'll get this torso done. Alrighty, so he is standing, so we can go ahead and start getting his torso situated. So what we're going to do here is we'll go ahead and angle this out. Same thing on this side. What I'm doing is I'm bending it at this joint here to help get it to about 90 degrees, which will let me move it past this stuff. And once we've got that angled out, we can go ahead and rotate it. So that way it's facing the front, and then bend those back at their 90-degree intervals. We're going to take this port back here, which is where the arm plugged in planet mode, and we're going to plug it around that post on both sides to get the torso into place. Or not the torso, the waist, butt, pelvis area into place. Now he does have an ab crunch. I'm not sure which way it's going, so I'm just going to rotate it around, and if it's in the wrong place I'll figure it out later. But what you want to do is you want to have the ab crunch show it's going to rotate forward in the appropriate way. And then once you know which side is supposed to be forward, go ahead and rotate around again. So that way you've got that. Let's go ahead and raise up some. We'll turn him so we can see that this red is now lined up with the waist. And then we'll go ahead, and the collar is attached right here, so we know that's the back. And we'll go ahead and rotate at this upper torso area until it comes around and lines up to be in the proper orientation. And we're almost done. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and unsheath his head, and I got to figure out how I'm going to do this as I go. This came undone, but we can snap that back into place. It happens sometimes. It's going to come undone anyway, so snap that back into place. I just rotate both his horns up. Now I get to stand back up again. Yay. Yay for standing, and yay for bumping cameras. Alright, so what we're going to do here is we've got these little tabs here that are sitting in these slots, one on each side. I'm going to rotate that out, and this side is going to go back. And then we'll go ahead and put up all his little teeth. And then I'm going to get the back into place, and then I'll show you. Actually, you know what? I'll get the front into place, and then Well, actually, I'm doing this on the fly, guys. Pardon my brain. I'm gonna get the back done, and then I'll show you how to do the front on camera as far as this, and then we'll go ahead and do the center. Alright, the back's done. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna rotate this around so that it's now facing out. We're gonna pop this out. I'm not exactly sure. I think this little tab here acts like a clip that goes around this, and you're going to want to make sure that you have the ball joint turned to his left, our right, as you fold it underneath. If you have this horn going through this side, this strut bumps up against it when it's paneling in, and I don't know why, but that's how it goes. You're going to feed the tip of the horn into this gap, and you can start bending it a little bit to help it go around the other side. And this orange hinge, you're going to collapse everything in on it so that it's sitting in place, and this is going to sit flush with the top of his chest. And now that we've done that, we can go ahead and pull up, and you'll unlodge this. There's like a hook tab that goes up in there, one here, and just a smaller tab down here. We're going to pull these out to the side, revealing his face stuck in there. And then you're going to want to fold this blue panel around on this orange strut, which will allow you to fold the teeth down. Let's go ahead and spin them around and show that from the other side. So we're going to rotate this around, and then after that panel, this strut is cleared, then we're going to want to fold the teeth in. Then we can fold these all around to the back, like so. Not yet. Fold it back out. You're going to want to rotate this back, and you've got to kind of maneuver it around his head a little bit, but rotate it back so you can fold these teeth in, and then rotate it back forward. No head removal necessary. Then couple these around, and then the fun part where we pulled up before, we're going to squish down now. His toes keep coming forward. That's why he keeps wanting to do the smooth criminal lean. So we're going to go ahead and just push down on his upper shoulder area. And that's going to pop down. Make sure this stays in place. And then you've got, let's lower a little bit so we can see what we're doing. You've got two big old slots, two big old tabs on all four chest pieces, so you can go ahead and plug those in on all sides, like so, to finish his chest off. And then you just got to rotate his horns up and out, and there are, again, use the seam lines in the parts to make sure they're lined up properly. The seam lines really help on this guy to make sure things are where they're supposed to be, and then we can go ahead and angle his shoulders up so they don't look so weird. And then we're on to the home stretch, which is literally just getting his wings ready. So in order to get his wings ready, we'll just take a wing. It is wingy, and you're going to take this single section, fold it over for now. Make sure that these pieces that we had folded in for planet mode are both rotated flat. Then you're just going to take the big old post, plug it into the big old shoulder port, angle it up on a ratchet joint to wherever you want it to be, and then go ahead and flail them out. On the one that we folded in, it's already detached, but on this other side, coming down, about this point here, there is a post and a port. You're going to want to untab that side. Just splay them out however your little heart desires. I just kind of eyeball it. We'll go ahead and put his other wing on him real quick. Angle those how you want. Now, if you want to, you can leave the spikes flailed out. I always have them folded in. But there you have him with his wings back in his robot mode. And it is tricky on camera. It really is. I bumped the camera a lot for this one because he's just so big. But when he's not on camera, it's not that bad. In all honesty, it's just heavy. And when you're sitting without him in front of a camera, you can kind of hold him however you want him. Have them and get at the best angles and stuff, but the camera makes it a lot worse. I'm out of breath a little bit. But anyway, there is Cell back in his robot mode. Thanks for tuning into the transformation, and thanks for putting up with it, because I was kind of figuring out how to do something like this at this scale as I went. And I'll see you guys next time.